really good time. So, hello everyone, and thank you for being here today. I hope you've been enjoying the conferences so far. Personally, this is my first time to dig London, and I definitely heard some great things about last year's event from Jay Rayman, who gave a talk last year in this same room. So I hope that at the end you'll feel I did as good as a lecture as I heard you did last year, hopefully. To Larry McKinnon and his team, many thanks for inviting me to participate in this event. Bianca, also thank you for organizing and supporting events like Dig London and Game on Finance with your team at Interactive Ontario. I get a feeling your organization is very involved in supporting the growth and development of the gaming industry in Ontario, and I truly believe it is important to have a strong association that does represent its members. Last week, as some of you may know, I was participating in my first lecture in Ontario during the Game on Finance event in Toronto. It was a great experience for me, and since I arrived here this morning, I can tell you I feel as welcome in London as I was in Toronto. And sincerely, since the July 9th press conference we held in Toronto to announce the opening of Ubisoft Toronto, we have received a tremendous welcome from a lot of folks in Ontario. Last week, I had the opportunity and honor to meet with some executives at Silicon Knights, Battle Games, and your hometown favorite developer, Digital Extremes. Today, I'm meeting with some other active members from the video game industry in the province, and tomorrow, I'm looking forward to visiting one of the leading VFX producers in Ontario, Stars Animation. I must admit that I really love my job when I get the chance to meet as much creative talent as I do these days. And on top of that, and what really makes my job a lot of fun, is that all these people I'm meeting in various functions are interested in establishing a working dialogue with Ubisoft. In the last few months, if there is one thing that struck me here in Ontario, is how the reception of our arrival was mainly positive. Ontario definitely looks like a great place for developing games, and I can't tell you how excited we are to open up a studio here and how bright we foresee the future for this high-caliber studio. Which brings me to my talk today. For those of you who were in Toronto last week, you'll have to listen to the same speech. I'm sorry for you guys. But I strongly believe, and plus you told me it was kind of good, so you know I'm doing the same. But I strongly believe in this subject, and actually I could talk about it endlessly for many reasons. One, because the real drive behind my passion for my job resides in my daily rendezvous with creativity and innovation. So it's just my favorite subject to talk about. Point. Secondly, since I know that there are a lot of students in this room, I feel it's important to explain what is our game development process, and even more important, how heavily it relies on groundbreaking ideas, innovative game design, and a dedication to creativity. So to start on the whole subject, I believe it is important to go a little back in time and provide you with a quick overview of the history of Ubisoft, but more specifically, Ubisoft Montreal. You'll see how, just like Desmond's DNA in Assassin's Creed, innovation is just part of Ubisoft's DNA. And as some of you may know, Ubisoft was founded in 1986 by 5 Guillemot brothers, raised in a family that placed entrepreneurship at the core of its values. Claude, Michel, Gérard, Christian, and Yves were destined to create their own company. It was during one of the brothers' trip to the United Kingdom that they were first exposed to video games. Their first business venture started in France with the distribution of Amstrad and Atari games and software, with their HQ based in the family home in a very small village deep in the French backcountry. Imagine the courage it required at the time. Video games weren't definitely not what they are right now, especially not in the way they were perceived by parents. Anyway, the point here is to underline the first innovative decision in Ubisoft's history. And after growing slowly but surely over a 10-year period, Ubisoft decided to deploy a growth strategy that would be financed by a successful IPO on the Paris stock market. In 1996, Ubisoft became a public company, still under the control of the Guillemot family, and in their mind, growth was synonymous with internationalization. With existing businesses offices in France, in the UK, and in the US, Ubisoft decided to open studios in Shanghai, and a few months later in Montreal, another bold move at the time, because Montreal was not on the map at all for the video game industry. Two other bold moves. No other gaming companies were established in Shanghai, nor in Montreal. And just to give you an idea, Ubisoft was about 300 people worldwide at the time. A small-sized company decided to go worldwide. One of our first mandates back then in Montreal was to generate employment for the segment of young professionals. The mandate we received from the Quebec provincial government fit well with the state of the video game industry in Montreal at the time. We were practically starting from scratch, meaning we had no choice but to hire young, passionate kids and video games enthusiasts who had no prior game experience whatsoever. The very good thing about that situation was that the expectations were much lower than the ones we have to deal with today. Back in the late 90s, our Montreal studio was focused on improving its skills, learning how to develop games on titles such as Playmobil, Alex to the Farm, Speed Racer, and Tonic Trouble. Those of you who've played one of these three games, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. During those days, we had the luxury of not having to deal with lofty expectations. Those early days are the foundation not only of what Ubisoft Montreal is right now, but also of what Ubisoft Toronto will be in the years to come. I believe that during those early years, through trial and error, we developed the first iteration of our production pipeline, the backbone of all our projects, and I believe a fundamental aspect of the success we thrive on today. This process has been built by our young developers who cut their teeth working on the not too flashy games I mentioned. The experience they gained led to our first successes: Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege, and Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time in 2002 and 2003.